my real test. I will travel across the land.
Did I get one?
No.
Why?
It's so much Pokemon.
Yeah.
I'm like hatching Pokemon, catching Pokemon. Pokemon! You're supposed to follow me.
Oops.
I wasn't going anywhere. What a happy day. You can't be sad when Pokemon are involved. Sorry, bad joke. There's something so pure, innocent, and exciting about Pokemon. I just can't be sad when I'm playing a Pokemon game. But honestly, I didn't think I was that excited for these games to come out. They look kind of funky the way they interacted with the Pokemon Go app. Even though I really enjoy the app and I've been playing it ever since launch day, actually scratch that, I downloaded it early when I was in Canada through some shady site that I was pretty sure was going to give me a virus. Fortunately, it didn't, and I managed to get the game a little bit earlier, and I loved it. But even still, meshing it with a Pokemon Yellow remake, I didn't know if I was all about that. But as I was driving to GameStop to pick up my copy of Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, I started to get really excited because it's Pokemon! Pokemon and Nintendo go hand in hand, so finally, we get a brand new Pokemon game on our Nintendo Switches. Oh, and I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, Pokemon Let's Go Eevee is all well and good, Wood, but how? How am I gonna get myself a free code for the game? Well, by entering my giveaway. Check the link in the description. All you really have to do is subscribe, but not just to this channel. Oh, you also have to subscribe to my brand new Let's Play channel. That's right, I'm starting a Let's Play channel in 2018. Let's see how terrible this goes. No, actually, I'm really excited. I've always wanted to do this, and the first video went out today. Filled with laughter, filled with fun, and if you want to start watching, there'll be a link down below. Make sure you subscribe and enter that competition to win Let's Go Eevee. There's a lot of aspects about these two new Pokemon games that I want to talk about today. Like the integration with the app, how it actually works, and if it's even worth your time. Of course, I want to talk about the game itself, and if it's actually enjoyable and worth buying. But first, to kick us off, I want to talk about what actually is Pokemon Let's Go. Reason being Nintendo, everything always seems way too complicated and confusing. Like, is the Wii U actually a brand new system, or is it some weird tablet attachment to the Wii? Or if you went out and brought a second-hand new Nintendo 3DS, is it still a new Nintendo 3DS, or is it an old new Nintendo 3DS? Is a 2DS still a 3DS? Does it have its own 2DS games? Does it play 3DS games? How does it play 3DS games if it's not in 3D? Nintendo, your marketing is so confusing. My point being, when I streamed this game on launch day, half the people in the chat, they were unsure whether or not it was a brand new Pokemon game in the core series, or if it was some weird new tie-in with the Pokemon Go app. Well, it's kind of a mix of some of those things, but at its core, it is a remake of Pokemon Yellow. And that's really all you need to worry about, I would say. There are quite a few differences from the original Pokemon Yellow, and yes, it is integrated with Pokemon Go, hence the Pokemon Let's Go side of it. But again, at its core, at its base, it is a remake of Pokemon Yellow, and it's actually a pretty fantastic one. I honestly feel for the first time in Pokemon game history, we have a sizable jump in visual style in this new game. This is quite a leap further from Sun and Moon and looks a lot more kin to something like the GameCube games, which, by the way, are some of my favorite Pokemon games, and I've been dying for it to go back to this style. But I really do love the way the game looks, because it's a perfect 3D representation of the cartoon. The sheer amount of nostalgia that smacked me right in the face walking into Professor Oak's laboratory was bad enough, because it reminded me of playing these games on my Game Boy in the backseat of the car way back when. But it was amplified by the visual style because, again, it looks so much like the cartoon. I was getting smack bang with even more nostalgia thinking about the first time I ever watched an episode of Pokemon. Needless to say, I like the way the game looks. Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Yes, it's a remake of Yellow, but there is one huge difference, and that comes into play with this little bad boy. The way you capture Pokemon has changed, and it's exactly like the Pokemon Go app, where you just throw a Pokeball and hope for the best. There are a lot of things you can do to increase your chances of catching a Pokemon, like obviously using better Pokeballs, that hasn't changed, or feeding the Pokemon berries, and even timing your throws. But gone is the way of battling Pokemon in the wild, trying to get them down to that slither of tiny bit of red HP, so you can throw that Pokeball and catch them on the first try. And obviously, a lot of people have a problem with that. In fact, when I first saw it, I hated it. I thought that was a terrible idea. Because you're messing with my memories, man. You're messing with nostalgia. You're changing a core part of the game. Of course people are going to be upset about that, and I didn't think I was going to enjoy it, but honestly, I kind of really like it. And I think the reason why I immediately grew to like this mechanic is because going into it, I thought, well, there goes my battles. I don't get to battle anymore. I just have to throw a thing. That sucks. But I forgot how many battles there actually are in this game. You still battle at gyms, you still battle the Elite Four, and you still battle all those chuckleheads that you find along your way in your adventure. And I forgot about the sheer amount of chuckleheads there actually were. You can't walk through any area that isn't a town in this game without being stopped for a battle every 2 seconds. And that's fantastic. Even without battling wild Pokemon, I was still getting more than enough of my battle fix. In fact, changing the way you catch Pokemon added a whole new dynamic. Now it really separates how you capture things and how you battle things. And if you think about it, it kind of makes sense on a lot of levels. You're not walking up on this random adorable little rat in the wild and saying, hey, I'm gonna beat the crap out of you in a submission so I can put you in my ball. Now instead, you flick him a berry, you kind of hope that he or she likes you enough to actually stay in the ball, and if it does, if it actually likes the cut of your jib, hey, he'll even battle for you. So from a story aspect, it kind of makes sense. And let's be honest, this is Nintendo. If Pokemon wasn't a thing until the Wii's generation, you bet your bottom that Nintendo would have made it motion controls. As soon as the idea would have been pitched to Miyamoto and he heard the word, just throw Pokeballs at Pokemon, his eyes would have lit up as he grabbed his Wiimote and said, yes, we can actually use the motion controls in a way that won't annoy people, maybe, hopefully, probably still will. But again, it kind of works. It actually adds a nice juxtaposition between catching and between battling, and you end up spending equal amounts of time doing either. But don't get me wrong, sometimes it's hard to accept change, especially when it's a franchise that you love so much, that you've grown up playing for the last 2 decades, and you were used to a certain way of doing things, and now it's drastically different. If you don't like it, I completely understand. All I'm saying is, it works, and if you give it a chance, it might grow on you. And credit to Nintendo where credit is due, they didn't lie to us. They've been promoting it this way ever since the games were announced. They made good and sure that we all knew this is how you catch Pokemon now. So much so, they even tried to downplay the fact that yes, it's a remake of Yellow, but it's not really because we've changed so much and we've added so much. But honestly, I really do feel like if you just want to play through Yellow again with updated graphics, as long as you bear in mind the catching is quite different, you can play Yellow again in a way that looks beautiful. Like going into that museum and for the first time in like 20 years, actually seeing the exhibits the way they're supposed to be seen. It's almost like we were blind for 2 decades and then given glasses, now we can finally see that giant Butterfree crystal clear and realizing how big that thing actually is. And there is actually quite a few new additions to the Let's Go games that heightened my experience and added something I really enjoyed, while not taking anything away from the nostalgia. So starting the game up and getting my Eevee, that was one of the most adorable moments I've ever experienced in a Pokemon game. It absolutely melted my heart. Man, Eevee is my favorite Pokemon. That's so adorable. That's so cute. Holy cramoles. This is making me want to get all teary-eyed. I guarantee you Kim gets teary-eyed when she sees that. I guarantee you. Team Eevee all the way. And I like that not only can I have Eevee out and about with me, I can have another Pokemon out with me. So I can have my Mew flying around and finding objects for me while my Eevee sits on my head. Again, that feels more like the cartoon. So it's hitting me with nostalgia where the previous games didn't even have that. Oh, and there is one detail that they changed for this game that I have wanted for so freaking long. But oh boy, have I wanted this for years. You can actually see the Pokemon running around, doing their thing, flapping their wings, slithering through the grass. And it is my decision whether or not I want to walk over and catch that there said Pokemon. The one thing I have always wanted is to be like Ash Ketchum and see the Pokemon. And I don't hate random encounters by any means, but Pokemon I feel, and excuse the pun, needed to evolve the way you catch Pokemon at some point. Now, is this what I had in mind? Not exactly. But the fact that I can see them now, that makes me happy. And again, I know it's messing with that same formula that you've all been playing for years, and that just doesn't sit right with some people. But it's what I've always wanted, so I love it. Oh, and whether you just caught another pocket monster or finished one of those random battles, all of your Pokemon now get XP. And that does lead into this game is a lot easier than previous Pokemon games, which is another concern a lot of people had. But when it comes to all the Pokemon leveling up, tell me as a kid, one of your favorite items was an EXP share. As soon as I found that item in any Pokemon game, the main Pokemon in my party lost whatever item he was carrying. Sorry, bub, I got something new for you to hold. I threw that EXP share at him, and I wished that I had that item the entire game. And that's essentially what happens in Let's Go. It's almost like you have a default EXP share on at all times. So gone is the way of putting the Pokemon you want to level up at the start of your party so that as soon as you get in a battle, you can switch to the one that actually won't get his butt kicked, finish the battle, and that way the Pokemon that came out first was technically in the battle and manages to get XP. But be honest, none of us like doing that. So now right from the start, all of your Pokemon level up, and honestly, I like that. So going into it, I knew all of this, I expected all of this, I rolled with the punches, and I'm just having a good time replaying Pokemon Yellow with an Eevee this time, and being blasted with memories left, right, and center. If it was just a straight carbon copy of Pokemon Yellow but with Eevee, I would have waited to pick it up because I would have known what to expect. There's no mystery, there's no intrigue, but instead with Let's Go, I was excited to dive back into it and see what was different. Sure, it's not all for me. I don't really want to spend all day petting my Pokemon. At some point, I do have to realize I'm a 28-year-old man now, and sitting there petting my virtual Eevee to make it smile really ain't doing much for me. But all these differences are leaving so many of us guessing on how things actually work now. Like when I was live streaming the game, in the comment section, everyone and their mother seemed to have a different opinion on how to catch a shiny. At first I was told you had to catch 100, and then it was just 10, and then actually at 10 it only doubles your chances. If you catch 20, it doubles it again. If you catch a certain Pokemon 31 times in a row, the chance of a shiny popping up is common. And I gotta be honest, I kinda had fun catching all 31 of them, but I did not find a shiny, which was very frustrating, and I felt like I wasted a good 40 minutes of my life. Wow, look at all the It's Pidgeys as far as the eye can see. I'm sure someone on YouTube has already broken down the game and told everyone how to do everything, but that excitement on launch day of just not really knowing how anything worked, again, it reminded me of the Mew situation and do you push the truck? Or whatever it was the kids were saying you had to do to catch a Mew. So yeah, I think a lot of the changes actually refreshed the game in a positive way. I guess really the only negative thing I have to say is, from what I've been told, if you play Let's Go Pikachu, it takes a long time before you can catch your first Eevee. But I played this one, and Pikachu was like the third Pokemon I caught, and within an hour of playing the game, I caught like 7. Now I'm all for catching a ton of Pokemon and having it easier to find things in this version, catching Bulbasaurs in the very first forest you walk into, but I feel like it did kind of take something away by making it so easy to catch both the starting Pokemon immediately in Let's Go Eevee. So the base game itself, as long as you go into it knowing all the changes, being accepting of the changes, and at least willing to give them a shot, it just kind of is exactly what Nintendo said it was. And for me, it's fun diving back into the nostalgia and even some fun, fresh new things to discover along the way. So that's the base game, which you can obviously play handheld or with a Joy-Con, and it works great either way, but is it worth going out and buying the full pack with this bad boy? So if you don't play Pokemon Go, or you have no interest in Pokemon Go, this is how it works just in the game. So you use it just like a controller. You only have 2 buttons, but that's more than enough to get by. This right here is a toggle, just like on the Joy-Con, and obviously it lights up too. If you click it in, it's technically the A button, and there's a button on top that's technically the B button. And obviously it also has motion controls, and you can shake it to access other features. So needless to say, whether you're using one Joy-Con or the Pokeball, you can play the entire game one-handed on your TV. So whether you're walking around the world in battles or especially while you're catching Pokemon, the Pokeball vibrates, lights up, and makes sounds. A lot of sounds actually. When you catch Pokemon, you can hear the Pokemon cry come out of the Pokeball. This thing is definitely at its coolest while you're catching Pokemon. Also, every one of these comes with a Mew. So after you deliver that parcel from the Pokemart to Professor Oak right at the start of the game, don't forget your Mew before you leave. Can I get it or what? No one said anything to me about getting it, but now y'all screaming at me in the comment section to get it like I missed it. Is it here or what? Mew now. Mew now. Hey, get Mew! Yelling at me like I know what I'm getting. Get the Mew! Everyone, settle down. But if you have the app, that's where the real fun comes in. Right now, actually, this thing's trying to catch me an Eevee. And it just successfully did that, and now it's gonna try and catch me this skunk thing. Well, I didn't catch that one, but it is pretty cool. Kim and I went out today with this guy clipped to my belt. Yes, the 12-year-old in me is going crazy at this point. Catching Pokemon as I wait for my Grande Mocha. It can also spin Pokestops for you. So I'll say, we went out today, we went to the park, we went to the shops. I caught so many Pokemon, like an insane amount of Pokemon. So it's really cool for upping your game in Pokemon Go. It works just like the Pokemon Watch you could buy for the game, but I didn't want to buy one of those because, well, I didn't want to look dorky. And the app and the Switch game work together too. You can transfer Pokemon either way, which will make it a lot easier to complete your Pokedex. So whether or not the whole pack is worth it to you, well, that just depends on how much of a nerd you are. Or, you know, maybe you're a kid. The actual demographic for this. 28. And I still love it. And now that you can go out there with an actual Pokeball and catch the Pokemon in the real world with the actual Pokeball, and when you want to take a break, or even at the same time, you can sit down on your Switch, your portable Nintendo Switch system, and play the brand new Pokemon game outside while you catch Pokemon in the real world outside at the same time. It's so much Pokemon. You're surrounded by Pokemon. You can take any kind of Pokemon anywhere you go, everywhere, anytime. It's a Pokemon fan's dream come true. Thanks for helping me film, Kimberly. It's freezing. It is so cold.
I might be catching something.
My nose is running and our hands are like solid bricks right now. Oh, you caught something?
Yeah.
What was it?
A cold.
Pokemon. So hey, that's Pokemon. If you think you might like it, then give it a shot. And hey, maybe you'll win it when you enter that competition down below and subscribe to both myself and the brand new. Don't forget about this. Click or tap on this video right here and you can go and watch the first episode on a brand new channel. You might be the first person to subscribe. Imagine that. But if you're not, still subscribe anyway.